My next guest is probably one of the ones I've been looking forward to the most. I'd worked with him as a client, oh gosh, a good handful of years ago now, and he's gone on to see his own success in self-publishing, and he ended up transitioning over to doing YouTube to kind of, I don't know, share a little bit of the information that he's learned and share a little bit of his process. And is what leads us to Andy from Easy Graphics on YouTube. Now, what's very unique about Andy is he never wanted to be on camera. In fact, like that is one thing he's absolutely against. So I'm actually blown away that he was willing to get on camera. But if you're watching the video version of this, you will see that I've obscured his face because he wants to continue to keep that anonymity. He likes to have the anonymity. In fact, he has a pen name that he writes under and publishes under. He essentially just keeps it to one name over on Easy Graphics. He is just an absolute treasure within the self-publishing community and a person that I can consider a very dear friend of mine. So let's dive into what got Andy into the business of self-publishing, how he went from doing low-content books to doing nonfiction books, and also what led him to doing a Faceless YouTube channel. Let's dive right on into this interview with Andy from Easy Graphics. So you started your channel for Easy Graphics about how long ago?
I would say about 2 and a bit years now, maybe. Probably just over 2 years. Yeah, it's been a while.
And aren't you getting ready to crack 1,000 subscribers at this point, or you're getting close?
No, I'm not that far off, but I'm not that close either. Just over 780. So hopefully I can hit that 1,000 this year. I don't know. Well, I'll have to work quite hard on that, but yeah, I'm hopeful.
The man says just 780. Like that's a gymnasium full of people. Did you ever think about that?
Absolutely, it's mind blowing. When I first started the channel, I had no idea that people would actually listen to my ramblings. So it's pleasantly surprised. No complaints for sure.
So you and I got originally connected through my channel Self Publishing with Dale, and we actually went through 2 coaching sessions together, which was absolutely incredible. Yeah. I don't remember what led you to putting together Easy Graphics on YouTube.
Quite a bit of your influence, actually, because I don't know if you recall, it's been a while, but I've had a journey, and then eventually I found you. I got into self-publishing, found you, and then you gave me a bit of a nudge. You kind of pushed me over the cliff and said, you have to publish your non-fiction book. So I published a non-fiction book, and around the same time we were having calls, and you kind of suggested it would be a good time to do some YouTube videos. So I thought, yeah, okay, I will try that. But at the time I was very resistant to it. It was only after quite a few months of thinking that I thought, yeah, okay, you know what, I can share some of my information, some of my knowledge and experience. I'm not a guru or expert by any means. There's always more to learn. And ironically, the more you learn, the more you realize there's more to learn. So it's a never ending, is it? But yeah, I decided, I will start a YouTube channel and I will just share what I know. So I don't have a huge amount of information to share at the moment, but as I learn, I share, and that's what I'm doing at the moment.
What do you think was your biggest resistance to actually doing video content? Because you obviously were very busy with your low content book publishing business, and according to you, forcibly going and having to publish nonfiction books.
Yeah, that's right. No, I think I was just I'm still very shy about my appearance. So that's one of the main reasons I always put off video, because the perception is that when you watch a video, you have to be, well, most of the videos that I've watched or seen usually had someone's talking head on it. So, like your channel, you'll have your head talking, which is fine. That's fine for most people. But there are channels that don't have any face on it. And sometimes they just have a voiceover channel, so it may not even be their voice. You have no idea who it is. For my channels, it is my voice, so that is me. But I've decided not to show my face at the moment, and focus on the content. And hopefully, people will come to my channel for the content rather than to look at my mug.
Got you. Does it help you? Did it help relieve a little bit of that anxiety in producing
Absolutely.
videos?
Absolutely. So that was a major hurdle actually, because once it clicked, it took a long time, but once it clicked that visually you can present whatever you want to present, and if you choose to have your face on there, that's a choice you can make. But for me, it's the content that I hope people will come for, first and foremost, and obviously how I deliver it with my voice.
Yes, this is really good. And it's always dialed in. So what I would like to know is when you're approaching video and you're looking to produce the content, what is your mindset on that? Because obviously I can just point and shoot and just talk and jib jab and people get to stare at my big dumb head. But now you've removed that option. So how does that look for you?
There are challenges because I'm told I have a very expressive face, so I express.
You do?
Yeah, I have a very expressive face, so it's kind of lost because you don't see the face when I'm doing the videos. So sometimes I do videos where I look at some reviews and I'm like, oh my god, did this person actually write that? And you're like, that is worse than whale poo, it should, it should be at the bottom of the ocean. Like Shark Tale, there's you, there's Oscar, and then there's there's you. It's kind of like that. And coming back to your point, I find if I'm focused or if I'm delivering content that I know someone in my position a few years ago or even a few months ago would have liked to know, then that kind of hyper focuses my videos on what needs to be delivered, and it gives me the extra challenge of, well, you can't laugh and show your face on the screen laughing, so you have to convey that emotion in in audio format, and also hopefully what you're demonstrating. So if you're reading a review, hopefully as you chuckle you can see, you can hear the emotion through it, and also hopefully the viewer understands what you're trying to get across, because they can't see your face, they can't see your emotions. All they're seeing is I would say the evidence of what you're presenting, so yeah, I that's what I try to do. I try to present what I see as, evidence might be a bit strong, but something that's useful to the person that they can glean from and learn from, hopefully.
Nice. So now that we're kind of in that whole range of talking about the YouTube channel, what type of a priority do you put on your YouTube channel? Is that like number one priority in your business, or where is that in your priority chain?
I've got quite a few plates spinning, so it is one of the higher priorities, I would say, but it's not the highest priority. So oftentimes I aim to do one video a week. Hopefully I can hit that, but if I don't, I sometimes miss a week. But the one that I am sticking to is the productivity sprints, where I get some writing or some work done during those days. So that's 3 to 4 on Wednesdays. I try and, because I'm doing it myself anyway, I figured if anyone wants to join me, they're welcome to, and we can chit chat and help each other about on anything publishing or self-publishing related. So that's what I definitely stick to. But schedule wise, I try and do one video a week of actual content. The writing and publishing is still probably more of a priority than the YouTube channel. So I kind of still want to continue publishing my non-fiction books. But beyond that, I have other things going. So, there is a pecking order. YouTube is important, but it's not the most important thing at the moment.
Super smart. I think that's very wise of you. So how much time are you devoting to growing your YouTube presence? So let's say every week.
Easily half a day, at least.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you think about it, there's some research involved, and then before I actually record, I think about what kind of, maybe the thumbnail, or what kind of content the person might want to see, and how to present that content, because if I don't have my face on, I have to find visuals that will explain what I'm trying to get across. So if I'm talking about KDP, like the most recent video, it was about marketing, so I will have to go into the KDP dashboard and show you where to click, and sometimes I do the share screen of my actual account, but sometimes it's easier just to grab a screenshot and walk you through that. So yeah, I spend quite a bit of time thinking about what I'm going to present visually, and then the recording and editing, that takes a bit of time as well. So yeah, at least half a day, probably closer to one full day after all said and done.
Nice. Have you improved in how your workflow is going, or has it become even more laborious the longer you've been a video creator?
It's funny you should ask that, because when I first started, I would just literally screen share whatever I'm doing. And then I realized, I can improve on this. And I went through a rabbit hole of learning how to do filming and video editing. That took me down that rabbit hole. So I now include some video edits, and I haven't reached audio or audio engineering just yet. But I will eventually at some point. But yeah, I went down that rabbit hole, so now it does take me more time to record and edit my videos. Previously, it would just be record the screen or record whatever I'm doing, and then no editing pretty much. Either I get it right on the first go, or I reshoot the whole thing, and hopefully it doesn't take too long. But that would probably, in the past, take me an hour or two max. Nowadays, it'd probably take me easily an hour and a half minimum. So yeah, it has increased my time, but hopefully I'll get better at that, and then improve as I go along.
Yeah, it's funny. The more that you learn, the less that you know. It's one of those situations. I know as a video creator, I'm constantly at odds with that and struggling with it. So now let's just focus on your writing and publishing business. Do you find that having the YouTube, has it helped your writing and publishing business? Have you seen a growth in sales, or are the two just not even interconnected?
They're not connected at all.
Okay.
I do not use, on Easy Graphics, I do not use it to promote anything, notebooks whatsoever. So it's literally me just sharing my information and knowledge that I know of with anyone who wants to listen at the moment. There may come a time when I do share my books, but at the moment, not at that stage yet.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I think there's a lot of people out there that can appreciate the fact that sometimes you just feel vulnerable as an author. Even more so when you put yourself into a position of being a video content creator. There's even more pressure there and more scrutiny. I know you and I've had a couple of private conversations about those type of situations before. So share with me about the whole writing and publishing journey, because you didn't necessarily get into writing at first, did you?
No, I it's a long story, because way back, I started with Amazon FBA, I guess, and before then I was doing different things. Do we have time to go through some of my backstory very quickly?
Please, absolutely.
So basically, I started off in the science and engineering field, and what happened was I was working in a rocket science type job, which I left. So I got my master's, PhD, they were all science and engineering related, and then I went into the corporate world. And that took me, that took a toll on my health. So I was looking to get out of the rat race. Eventually I did, through real estate and investing in that. So that was quite an achievement. But it left me with time on my hands. I kind of, went through ups and downs, eventually ended up in Canada, explored a few things like Amazon FBA. That was okay, but it wasn't really my thing. Too many boxes that I had to put around the house. So many boxes. Anyway, so there was Amazon FBA, and then I thought that's definitely not me, which led me into low content publishing, which I saw someone else do. I was like, oh, that's interesting. There's zero inventory, you can keep your royalties. Well, let's give this a go. And then that led me down the rabbit hole of low content, no content publishing, and then self-publishing. And I stumbled across you and your channel. This is years ago now. And then, so you gave me that nudge, and you said you read a few pages of my first nonfiction book, and you said, this is not too bad. So I thought, I have nothing to lose, and self-publishing is a gift to so many people, including myself. I am effectively a non-entity. No one knows who I am. And that's it's not like you're Oprah Winfrey or Robert Kiyosaki, where everyone knows your name. It doesn't matter what you put out, you're going to get sales. When someone's not known at all, self-publishing is a real gift, because then you can have the opportunity to publish your book, if you choose to, yourself, and that's kind of, I know it's a long story, but that's kind of the road that got me into self-publishing. And I thought I do need to, although I'm not an expert or a guru, I have a lot to learn, but I do have more that I know than the average person, or someone starting even a month ago, you know. And I'm keen to share that information and knowledge. Yeah, that's me so far, and that's why I got into self-publishing and the non-fiction book.
Where do you anticipate that you're going to be going next now? I mean, obviously, Easy Graphics is starting to pretty grow, like within less than 300 subscribers away, which I'm sure by the time this airs, you'll probably already be past 1,000 subscribers at that point. So obviously, it's starting to explode, and you're starting to really go deeper into your self-publishing business. Share just a little bit what you're comfortable.
I think my main focus is to share what I know, my knowledge and experience. That's kind of my main focus for Easy Graphics. Funny name, isn't it? Easy Graphics, because there's not much graphics about it at all. It's mostly because I'm terrible at graphics, which is where I started in the low and no content publishing. I'm terrible at graphics creations, and I know that, which is quite wise, I guess. And anything that's easy about the graphics has to be my way. So either I outsource it, or I do something very, very basic. So that's the name of the channel. But the focus is always going to be, to show my support for self-publishing, because I think it's a real gift to many people, and we should not abuse it. And there's been a lot of that sometimes. It should not be abused. That's terrible. But yeah, I'm hoping to just continue sharing what I know. Hopefully people resonate with that, and we'll see where that takes me. Hopefully to over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is really cool just to kind of chat with you on this. So what do you foresee? What's next as far as your next publication, your next book? What does that look like, and what's the launch schedule look like?
Oh, I've actually written one book. It's with an editor right now, so hopefully I'll get that back this week. So that's my next book. I've already got another book in the works, so I'm going to start writing that. So I spend quite a bit of time researching, outlining before I put pen to paper, as it were. So having a strong outline and doing the research on what people have put out so far. I don't actually read other people's books in my genre, which I probably should. But I tend to. I find I'm always worried that it might cloud my thinking, and I'm not sure if what I'm saying then, or when I write, what I'm saying is my experience rather than what I've picked up from someone else. So I try to write the book first with what I know, and then I'll revisit and see if there's anything I need to add. As I do my research, as I do my non-fiction books. But the schedule is it's quite loose. I don't have like a rapid release approach or anything like that. I think I try and aim for maybe 1 to 2 books a year. And there's so much to learn, and so much to practice. So the formatting, the editing, the style of writing, if you compare my most recent book with the first one I put out, it's embarrassing that I put out the first one, but at the same time, that's my belief. If you don't look back and go, "Oh my God, did I do that?" You haven't grown. You have to step on some eggs and crack some eggs. Now make those mistakes and learn from it.
Yeah, so true. All right, so there's so much that you've dropped so far, and I'm hoping that some people understand that. I wanted to share just a little bit about you being an author and also balancing the whole YouTube life. Not to mention, you've got family life too. So how does family life work for you with those two other things that you got to keep going? Not to mention, you did briefly mention real estate that was helping you keep afloat. So how do you balance all that?
It's challenging at times, but I try and make sure that whatever I have on my plate is not overwhelming. I find that's one of the key things that I've learned from so far, that if it's too overwhelming for me, I end up just shutting down and not doing anything, which is even worse than doing a little bit of something. So I tend to break up my day into manageable time chunks. So if I'm able to, I'll try and do maybe 10-15 minutes of research, 10-15 minutes of writing, and go from there. And I'll prioritize every day as to what needs my attention. Fortunately, the investing side of things, it's mostly on autopilot. There's only a couple of weeks a year. I'm embarrassed to say it's probably less than a week of actual work a year. But it takes a lot of time to get to that stage, you know. So don't imagine it's passive initially, at least. But yeah, I mean, what I try and, you know, split my day into manageable time chunks and go from there. If I don't get something done, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. I can pick it up tomorrow or some other time. So that's the way I approach it.
So one final question here for you. Could you briefly be able to share some advice to any aspiring authors and self-publishers out there?
Learn as much as you can. You have to be very good at distinguishing what is good information and what is bad information. There's so much bad information. So this is where I kind of got burnt early on in my career, in the self-publishing industry. I didn't really know what I was doing. And that's quite common because you're so excited, you just want to get that first book published, you know, just do it. And actually, sometimes it's best to step back and, you know, take it a bit slower. There's no rush, you know. You don't want to end up doing things you shouldn't be doing. So that's my biggest advice. I think it would be, take your time. There's no rush. It's best to get the foundations correct before you move forward, and you're always learning, right? It's never ending. But if you start off with the wrong mindset and the wrong approach, that's going to set you back quite a lot. If anything, you want to get that right, because if you don't, who knows, you might get your KDP account banned, and that's pretty much done, you know. So yeah, learn what's good and distinguish what's bad before you move forward. That's my biggest advice for anyone starting.